What's happening out there, you beautiful people? Welcome along, guys, to another episode of 420 News. It is midweek, guys. It is a Wednesday here in beautiful sunny Ireland, actually, today. Thank God for that. Woke up to some lovely sunshine here today, rather than the miserable cloudy mornings that we've had there for the last few mornings. And I don't know if anybody else out there is like me, but when you wake up to some sunshine in the morning, it just it sets you off for a good day. You know, it's easier to remain in a good mood throughout that day. So hopefully everybody's out there feeling in a good spirits, like myself. The spirits are high. Yes, speaking of high, let's get high. Yes, let's get civilly disobedient. See, lots of you out in the audience, guys. Lots of comments coming in already. Keep them coming, guys. Really appreciate all of the support for the show, all of the comments, likes, shares, and all of that stuff. So we see Greenbeard out in the audience. What's happening, GB? Others out there. What else in the audience? We have Keith Griffin. What's happening, Keith? Irish Hemp Harvest is out there. Scalds. What's going on, Scalds? We've Podge in the audience as well. What's going down, Podge? Hope all is good, buddy. Others out there. Papa Gummy Bear. R420 Supplies, Sean M. Duggan, what's going on with Stowes? Hype is in the audience. Teresa, what's going on, Teresa? Hi, Wednesday people, she says. Orange Man Bad is back for another bit of 420 News. What's happening, Mr. Orange Man? Hopefully all's good out there with you. Others in the audience as well. Mark Andrew Morgan, what's happening, Mark? Barry Keane is in the audience as well. What's happening, Barry? Finn is out there. What's going down, Finn? And Finn is off to Calicante. Is that a little play in words there, Finn? Is it Calicante? As in you're going over there to get some Cali, yeah? I definitely would recommend to try out the old Spanish herbs, but to each their own. I know Cáceres Drogas is over there at the moment in, I believe, Malaga. And he was sending me some feedback there as to the cannabis clubs over there and how they operate and all of that stuff. And very interestingly, the hair from Cáceres Drogas about the Cali strains that are over there. And we're going for as much as €30 for 1 gram of the cannabis. Absolutely ridiculous, considering, you know, that you could get a gram of cannabis, Spanish grown cannabis, I suppose, for like €5 to €6 a gram over there. And the Cali cannabis, there is really no guarantee at all that it was actually even grown in Cali. It's more than likely just some Cali associated genetics, which were then grown in Spain and relabeled as Cali and sold for fucking 6 times as much as what a normal gram would be sold for. But yeah, we won't get too stuck on the Cali stuff there. Just for me, and as a warning to anybody out there, just don't fall for the marketing. I would definitely think that a lot of the stuff that's labeled as Cali is probably just regular old cannabis that is being hit with maybe some extra terpenes in order to kind of really enhance the flavors there. So when you consume it, you know, you're perceiving it as being incredibly flavorsome. Like, I've never tasted cannabis like it, but meanwhile, all you're literally tasting is some added perfumes, I suppose, really, to the plant. Like, they're adding back in the terpenes afterwards, or not adding back in, but just topping them up. So be careful. John Finian says, Cali weed all the way from Carlo. Yeah, there's some chancers out there, guys. I've seen 3 grams there recently being advertised for, was it 130 quid? Or if you buy 2 packs, you get them for 125 each. Madness. Absolute fucking madness. Let's blaze on up, guys. I imagine all of you are already well blazed out there. 6 minutes on into the show now. But yes, we have our bowl of civil disobedience packed here, and we got our torch of freedom at the ready too. And we're going to blaze our way to freedom. Oh, delicious. Absolutely delicious. That's some purple godbud in there with a little bit of Lettuces. So again, shout out to Temple Grower. 2 of Temple Grower's genetics there mixed in superbly. Yummy. Oh, just preparing some of the news in the background there as well, guys. Oh, excuse me. So right, let's get stuck right on into it, guys. As I do have to run in a short bit, but only for a quick short period as I drop Alexis down to one of our extracurriculars there on Wednesday evening. But the first update I have for you today, guys, on the 420 news, it is from Gino Kenny. Yes, I had the absolute pleasure last night of joining the Cannabis Activist Alliance, as we do every Tuesday evening at 9 p.m. And we were joined last night by Gino Kenny. Gino Kenny, who joined us to talk about the upcoming cannabis regulation and control bill, or the crack bill. He joined us to talk a bit about the bill and to take some of our questions, and it was great. He joined us for just the bones of about an hour, and we had a great old conversation there. I was rather disheartened to hear, though, that the Cannabis Regulation and Control Bill is still not drafted, and it's not finished yet. It really pains me to say this, but I don't believe it's even started yet. Gino Kenny found out about there's an Oireachtas bill group or something like that. So there's a group within the Oireachtas which helps draft bills for members of the Oireachtas. And Gino updated us that he's going to be meeting with them tomorrow. And he believes once he meets with them, it will take 4 weeks at a minimum in order to draft that bill. So that means that the Cannabis Regulation and Control Bill won't be finished at least until the end of this month. Gino also brought up the fact that he believes that on Thursday there's going to be issues brought up to the fact that the Cannabis Regulation and Control Bill would be in violation of European laws or rules, regulations, so that there could be issues there. He did say that, if those issues come up, he does have a plan B, which would be, and not using Gino's words, but it would be following a similar model to that's currently being unfolded over in Luxembourg, where the cultivation of cannabis at home would be decriminalised, but the possession of cannabis still in public and the consumption of cannabis in public would still have to remain illegal, as per the International Narcotics and Control Board requirements, something that we have signed up to through the European Union. So it'll be interesting to see. Gino did say he'll come back to us, give us an update there after tomorrow's meeting with that bill drafting group there in the Oireachtas. But hopefully it'll be positive news. I was definitely impressed, some of the positive takeaways from the meeting, really, I suppose, to say is that Gino wants to to grab the bull by the horns here, so to speak. He wants to just really just go head first into this. He doesn't want to tiptoe around this issue. He believes that with proper controls and regulations of cannabis, we can really improve our society. And he believes that if we were to kind of tiptoe around it in order to kind of appease the prohibitionists, in order to kind of, as he kind of said it, there's putting a bill forward which might have a chance of passing, or putting a bill forward which actually controls and regulates cannabis in a way in which would be beneficial for society. And the latter is what he wants to go for. I know some of the campaigners there were pushing for the former. Why bother put forward a bill if it's not going to succeed? Why would you waste your time? Well, I definitely think there was a benefit into the logic that Gino was thinking in that, in just tackling the issues head on. Because if, as he kind of puts it, decriminalisation, it just still leaves cannabis with no control, no regulation, and still so many problems are going to be seen with that then. Whereas control and regulation is a way forward. So that was one of the positive takeaways from the meeting, is that Gino really does want to tackle this head on, and he doesn't want to tiptoe around this issue. But while he doesn't want to tiptoe around it, I would really hope he would just kind of put on the runners and speed it up. Because this is just taking too long. We have upcoming there now next week, or is it this week, John O'Regan, another one of the members of the Cannabis Activist Alliance and a past guest of the podcast. Yeah, he's up in court for his crime of possession of cannabis, and I believe cultivation of plants as well. So this tiptoeing, this kind of waiting, There's people suffering as a result of that. Not just John O'Regan, but we had many patients as well already brought before the court, such as Paul Lee, Evelyn Corrigan, just to name but a few. So that was an update there last night from Gino, guys. Yeah, as I say, I would really have loved to have kind of have met Gino and been like, yeah, guys, the bill is almost finished. This is what's in it, and this is what it looks like. And unfortunately, that's not what was there. Unfortunately, so hopefully in time to come we will have more positive news to report. In that, hopefully the meeting tomorrow with Gino and these guys who are going to draft the bill is a positive one, and he has some good feedback there for us. Oh, see lots of comments coming in. Sean T. Campion greetings, Martin. All Herbert up here. Be good, be cool, be safe, guys and girls. Greenbeard as well. Nice one. Mary Teague will be stoked, bro. And that should have been Marty, I'd say. Others out there. Green Tea's after joining us, and Billy Bonds. What's happening? Bhagwan's son as well. Congrats as well, guys. Big congratulations to Bhagwan's son on the birthday of his beautiful daughter there yesterday. I'm not too sure of the name, but I think it was something along the lines of maybe Martina Marie Bhagwan. No, all jokes aside, congrats, bud. John Finnegan as well, for feck's sake, 2 years before the bill even gets opened up. So yeah, there you go, because when the bill is finished being drafted, it has to be submitted, and then it's going to take some time then before the debate of the bill actually begins. So yeah, we do still have a bit of time to wait yet, unfortunately, John. But don't let that dishearten you, boys and girls out there. Honestly, Friday's campaign, remember the 5th of November, engaging it, because once we engage in campaigns like this, we are going to turn up the heat on the politicians, and opportunities like Gino's bill will be an opportunity for him to escape out of the proverbial hot water, so to speak. So yeah, definitely don't get disheartened by this. Green Tea, hey Podge, Greenbeard, Kieran C. Welcome, Barry Keane as well. If weed is bad for you, why are the athletes prevented from using it in racing? Yeah, very good point. Podge 85, it was meant to be July 1st when the bill was meant to be drawn up. Yeah, I know. Podge was meant to be July, then September, then kind of October, November. But look, it is what it is, unfortunately. Oisin Bradley Moore, they open to study magic mushrooms, not against it, but need more research for weed. Yeah, the magic mushroom study, actually, Oisin, if you kind of look into the researchers, some of the reports in it, they did highlight the fact that to get permission to carry out that study was incredibly difficult. Any other studies, they would put out the proposal and they would be beginning that study, within a couple of months. I believe the researchers said it took them like 2 years from when they finished their proposal, when they designed the study, and until they were granted the license to actually work with the magic mushrooms. So keep that one in mind there. Excellent. Green Tea, Skatanis Podge as well. He's taking way too long. Yeah. In regards to the Gino's bill there, Billy Bonds calling shenanigans. Shenanigans. Gino, you hear that? Shenanigans they're calling out there. What are you going to do, Gino? Orange Man Bad is in court on Monday for drug driving. 'Tis a bollocks. It is indeed, buddy. I hope it goes well for you. The drug driving laws, I've done a couple of shows on that in the past, but they are a complete and utter farce. Chilbert UK says, rosin makes you higher, Podge. And John Finnegan says, methinks Gino has too many pokers in the fire. And Hype hasn't seen good amnesia in a while. Yeah, I think maybe fucking Gino has been on the old amnesia. He's forgetting that he has a bill there, and he keeps remembering, and he's like, oh yeah, shit, I meant to do that. I'll tell him I'll do it there next month. Keith Griffin, how can we get involved again, Martin? Yeah, I suppose just to bring that one up, and I don't have a little lower third there for it, but remember the 5th of November, guys, the National Cannabis Legalization Day. The letter is up there at the moment online. I shared it over on Twitter, and it's up on the Facebook group as well. If anybody wants access to this, just send me an old email there, and I will get a copy of this sent back over to you. But this is the National Cannabis Legalization Cannabis Day, the 5th of November 2021. It's going to be the 20th anniversary of when and the now MEP Luke Ming Flanagan sent all of those cannabis joints to the politicians and media of Ireland. So that was 20 years ago, this 5th of November. So we're going to recreate that day, guys. And I encourage each and every one of you out there to get involved. If you want to look up the address of any TD, just type in their name and contact, and you'll find any TD or even local councillor's address, and you'll be able to send a copy of this letter, along with this also, which is a copy of 10 reasons of why cannabis prohibition needs to end. The first reason is probably the most important one, is the criminalisation of a person for using cannabis violates that person's human rights. And then I list just 4 of the human rights in which have been violated by the prohibition of cannabis. Then I go on to say ending cannabis prohibition allows for minors to be protected with the introduction of age limits at the point of purchase. Ending cannabis prohibition allows for the introduction of regulations such as quality control and product information, such as potency on packaging, which enables harm reduction. Ending cannabis prohibition will open up access to cannabis for patients and researchers. Ending cannabis prohibition will end the discrimination and stigmatization that cannabis consumers currently face in today's society. Ending cannabis prohibition will save the state hundreds of millions annually, which would have otherwise been wasted on the enforcement of cannabis prohibition. Ending cannabis prohibition would allow for the generation of a multi-billion euro industry, which could have a number of solutions to today's climate and environmental pollution problems. Ending cannabis prohibition would stop the criminalisation of people who use cannabis for medicinal reasons. Ending cannabis prohibition would allow for Gardaí to focus on more serious crimes such as those with actual victims, examples being rape, theft and murder. So you get that there, guys. It's up on the Facebook event page. It's also over on Twitter. I'll stick an image of them up there on Instagram as well at some point in time. But if you want a copy of them, if you're not on any of those things, if you're just on YouTube, just pop me an email, martinsworldpodcast@gmail.com, and I'll gladly share a link there with you so you can get access to them. Feel free as well to edit this letter here as well as you so wish. Within this, I mentioned some of the patients: Paul Lee, Evelyn Corrigan, Christina Pisco, who were all criminalised for their medicinal use of cannabis within the last 12 months here in Ireland. Also bring up Alicia Maher, who we all know, Vera Toomey as well, and her daughter Ava, who again we all know, and to the fight that they had to endure in order to get access to cannabis, and even Alicia's continual suffering there, being removed from her home here in Ireland. And a disclaimer has been attached as well, guys, for those who received this, because included in this will be a joint, cannabis joint, and it says, "Be advised, as the product was included, it was sourced from a non-regulated market. You as a consumer," and I should put in a little apostrophe there, "you as a consumer have very little protection. There is no guarantee that this joint contains any cannabis. If it does contain cannabis, you as a consumer have no idea as to the potency of the cannabis. This makes dosing incredibly difficult and could put you at risk. And if you would like to enjoy cannabis safely, then you will need to source your cannabis from a legal, regulated market, which helps to protect consumers." So again, as I say, feel free to edit this as you wish. You get a copy of this up on the Facebook event page, over on my Twitter, and via email as well if you get in contact with me. Guys, if you don't want to send cannabis, if you don't want to waste cannabis, just roll up some oregano, roll up some thyme, go out your garden, pick some grass, roll up some grass. A stamp will only cost you €1.10, an envelope will cost you about 20 cents, and stick it on in there and post it off to your favourite TD. I would recommend Stephen Donnelly and Frank Fian as the people who should probably be getting the most. So right, that is that. Guys, I have a very special treat for you, and it is the NI Canna guy, Alan Robinson, is going to be joining me, and he's going to be talking all about the new adventure he's partaking in above there in the north of Ireland. So without further ado, we'll give you Alan Robinson. So hopefully he's still there. Apologies, Alan. He's been in the waiting room for the last few minutes. And there we go. Here's Alan joining us there now. I'll put him up on screen for all you beautiful people to see. And boom, there we go.
All right, Martin, how's it going?
Excellent. What's going on, Alan? Welcome to the show. I'm going to make you full screen there. So,
Thanks very much for the invite, brother.
yeah, not a bother at all. And thanks for taking her up as well on short notice. Really appreciate it. There we go. I don't know.
No problem at all.
Excellent, excellent. Give me a second. I'm just going to sort out the screen here on my side because I'm on the screen too. Immersive gallery. Damn it. I know what to do. I can hide my video. Hide self view. There we go. Perfect. Excellent. Sorted, Alamo.
Hi, Martin's World.
Yes, yes. All right, and I kind of guy, welcome along. So, Alan, I've been telling the guys that you have some incredible news to share with us, and I didn't go on any further, and I did give it a bit of a sneak preview as to it about a week or so ago when you leaked it. But do tell us, what have you gone and done on the island of Ireland?
I have opened the first dry herb vape lounge for people with a private prescription for medical cannabis to come and sit down with the likes of myself and our staff and use our volcano hybrids, our proper professional dry herb vaporizers, as clinicians are telling people to do whenever they're being handed their cannabis flower.
Excellent. That's very nice. And I see above there you have a number of volcano vaporizers and the packs as well inside there. So when somebody comes along and they sign up with their membership and they have their prescription and everything, how does it go inside of there? What goes on? Do they rent the volcanoes, or are they just free to use for members? And how does it work?
Well, if you call up the address, I know it's miles and miles from you. The address is 8 Rashi Road, Ballyclare, BT 39 9HJ. We're having a bit of, at the minute, we're not too sure when they open, because in true stoner fashion, nobody's about in the morning time, afternoons and evenings. So we're slowly but surely, baby steps. But the members that have come up, I'm really, really chuffed that we actually got members, especially on the first day. If you sign up, you pay your membership fee every month, and you have free reign of whatever vaporizing device you want.
Excellent.
If you're not a member and you want to come up and use the vaporizers, you can do so with the likes of CBD hemp, or maybe you want to vape some oil or whatever. Certainly come on ahead. We're not discriminating.
Yeah, exactly. So when I come in with my CBD flower, as I don't have a prescription, you will trust me that it's CBD flower, and I don't have that devil's lettuce, that the evil narcotic cannabis type, that deadly marijuana.
Oh well, don't worry. We've got with people to run our eye over things like that, but it shouldn't be a problem, Martin. The people that do have a private prescription, they're coming up with their Medcan ID cards, and instead of their actual prescription, the private prescriptions up here, it is only really just a starting point. It's just a jumping off point. Like, let's be honest, because it's right at the end of the day, it is big pharma. It is, but these people need this. And I've actually went ahead and got one myself as well. So everything looks to be taking shape. If you come up to the Dry Herb Vape Lounge and I'm there, then there's a good chance there'll be a nice smell in the air.
Excellent. That sounds savage. So did I hear correctly there? So you're actually a holder of a private prescription now yourself?
Yep.
Excellent.
I applied, and I'll tell you, actually, it was inspired by Alicia herself. The private prescriptions in the UK and Northern Ireland are offering private prescriptions for cannabis for chronic pain. So that's what I tried to do. I approached a couple of cannabis clinics in the UK and followed the steps and submitted my medical history and stuff, and see what the crack was. Now they didn't accept me for chronic pain. Apparently I'm not in enough pain, which is ridiculous. But in a funny way, in a funny turn of events, because I've been doing cannabis awareness up here now for about 5 years, and the very first thing that ever affected me to make me do it was my mental health and the fact that I was able to break my addiction to antidepressants and painkillers with just using CBD and cannabis. So, in a funny turn of events, they didn't give me the private script for chronic pain. They've gave me it for my mental health. So I went and seen an MLA last week, which is the equivalent of your TDs.
Okay.
I went and seen one and sat there and told them medical cannabis prescription, and they told me cannabis causes mental health problems. So it was perfect for me to be able to just reach into my pocket and take my prescription out and say, well, that's very weird because that's actually what medical clinicians are actually giving me for mental health. So it was a very good conversation. Unfortunately, there isn't enough conversations like that happening in Northern Ireland. But one thing that we did agree on with my time there was the police service of Northern Ireland's lack of interest, training, or understanding of medical cannabis whatsoever, because the PSNI, they're completely ignoring people like you and me and other activists and other groups in the likes of England, Scotland, and Wales. And that politician I spoke to was very, very interested in that. So I don't know if it'll have any effect or not, but it was just nice to be able to talk to a politician about medical cannabis because it's not happening up here.
Yeah, I'd imagine the level of training that the authorities get, the guards or the PSNI above there is at zero probably.
Definitely.
Yeah,
We've had a few people that I know with private prescriptions for cannabis where the PSNI have actually came to their house and took it away. Um, the person themselves has had all the proper documentation and the ID, but the actual police on the scene didn't have the training and took it away. And about 4 hours later, the same two constables, they had to bring it all back and apologize and give the guy his cannabis back. And that's an embarrassment for everybody concerned, for the patient and the police. And this guy, he lives in a busy place, a wee busy estate. So it's not as if it was just like an isolated house. So everybody saw the police at his house as well. So there's a lot of things, a lot of framework needs laid down, especially up in the north. But down where you are, Martin, the lack of private prescriptions for the likes of chronic pain needs to be seriously addressed. I'm very excited about the 5th of November.
yeah, same here. It's a great opportunity again just to make a bit of noise, a much needed noise on this issue because, as you quite rightly pointed out, all things, mental health and chronic pain are two incredibly overlooked areas there for the potentials of the medicinal use of cannabis. And it's not being talked about at all at the level you would like it to. We're talking about it on the ground. The campaigners, the public are crying out for it. Some people are actually leaving the country for it, such as Alicia that we mentioned there earlier. But still, sadly, at the top, they're acting as if this is a non-issue, as if there's nothing to see here, guys. Carry on. There's little or no evidence. Hands, clean. Good luck. But we all know, like,
Yeah,
there was more evidence coming out, and it's funny that you bring up mental health, but there was a recently published study there that showed that cannabis is incredibly beneficial for people with depression, anxiety, and for helping with sleep as well, which if you don't get enough of will leave you feeling bloody depressed and anxious. um,
yeah, exactly.
yeah, and there was somebody else shared a post there earlier today as well. I can't recall who it was, but it was an alarming one that people who suffer with chronic pain are 3 times more likely to utilize suicide as a means for alleviating their pain. That's
Yeah,
frightening, that's seen as an option for people before, that a doctor can just say, hey, do you want to try some cannabis? And at the same time as alleviating
yeah,
their pain, it might actually reduce that risk of bloody suicide as well because it might tackle any depression or anxiety they might have. Do you know, if you're suffering with
definitely.
chronic pain for a number of years and you might be stuck in a situation if you're religious, kind of thinking, geez, why is God punishing me? And all these kind of thoughts, like, that's how chronic pain will play in your mental health. Why me? Why am I
Yeah,
suffering because of this? And next you get some cannabis, alleviates your
absolutely.
pain, and then you feel silly for feeling that way all along. And it's like, yes.
Exactly, that's it. And I completely agree. Belfast City itself, um, if you correlate all the capital cities right across the continent of Europe, Belfast City has the highest suicide rate, and it has had the highest suicide rate for a very long time. This is going on years and years, and I'm glad that you actually touched on it, because it's something, again, that the high-level politicians don't want to address. There was recently a politician up here in North Belfast. He was representing North Belfast for years, and he was recently put into the House of Lords over in London, so he's a Lord now. And his actual constituency is one of the poorest parts of Northern Ireland altogether. And this guy's running about the House of Lords, as if he's Lord Mock himself. And when you see things like that, and you see, then you look at what the politician actually is saying when they're looking to get elected, or whenever another party has maybe an initiative or a project they want to get off the ground, what these other politicians hold more important above, as you say, cannabis being a first option, it's absolutely ridiculous. The first side effects that anybody will tell you from a lot of opioids is suicidal thoughts, and unfortunately, the motorways in Belfast have bridges on them, and that's well, I don't need to go any further there, but these things are kept from the mainstream media, especially up here, the likes of the Belfast Telegraph. They'll tell you, oh, somebody fell from a bridge, but they'll never ever tell you why. They'll never tell you what was in their system, what prescriptions they've had, or how long they've been taking whatever from the doctor. All these things, they're completely covered up and ignored by the mainstream media. And so people sort of think that this isn't going on, but it is going on. And unfortunately, the last thing you want is something like that happening whenever you're traveling down the road with your family, and you go under a bridge. These politicians have a lot to answer for, and just shouting sectarian themes up in Northern Ireland, them days are long gone, because everybody's fed up with it now,
Mm-hmm.
So I can see cannabis, medical cannabis, recreational medical is the same thing. Recreation, you're sitting down and you're recuperating, you're recovering, you're relaxing. That's all part, as you say, of your mental health.
Yeah.
Cannabis can bring in a huge amount of tax money to boost economies. Cannabis can treat mental health. It could bring down the suicide rates. It could do all these things. And all these people need to do is give it a chance.
Yeah, I seen that video there recently of yourself being reshared. It was maybe from 2 or 3 years ago with the bunch of bananas. And you were kind of comparing it, like my buddy uses this banana for recreational purposes. Yeah. My other buddy has a potassium deficiency and uses it for medicinal reasons. But in reality, you have a bunch of bananas here. And it's like, show me the recreational and show me the medicinal one. They're both achieving the same thing, It's just that for one person, they have a deficiency in the potassium. And for many of us out there, we probably have deficiency in cannabinoids at the moment.
Yeah, we would all have endocannabinoid deficiency. The wild hemp that would have grown 95 years ago before Prohibition, that would have been in our food chain. The likes of cows and cattle and pigs and all, they would have had all that. So CBD, small amounts of THC, all the other cannabinoids would have been in our diet and stuff. But see, if you go back to when Prohibition started till now, you find new weird words like fibromyalgia and like attention deficit disorder and all these newfangled illnesses that didn't exist, a couple of years ago. A lot of the children that I've maybe campaigned for in the past for medical cannabis, when I'm talking to their parents, and it's eerie, it can get creepy. Nearly every single one of these parents has said that the child started with leaky gut, IBS problems, and that is one of the main side effects from cannabinoid deficiency.
Yeah.
So if you could argue we all have cannabinoid deficiency, it's affecting us all to a certain point, and then maybe once in the intestines, it's either going one way and you're being diagnosed with epilepsy, maybe it's going the other way, you're being diagnosed with arthritis, chronic pain, fibromyalgia, all that stuff. A lot of the doctors and neurologists, especially in the UK, they're tracing back all these things, and it is quite creepy. It's all going back to leaky gut syndrome.
Yeah, I definitely would agree with you there that we're missing a vital source of cannabinoids in our diet at the moment as a result of this prohibition. People didn't realize it at the time, and I suppose I could put it in perspective too. You have to think that cannabis prohibition was enacted around the world at a time when the world was engaged in a war against your man Hitler. Like you have to remember
Yeah.
that, like around the time that World War Two kicked off is around the same time that we had the kind of the prohibition of cannabis. In fact, the prohibition of cannabis was actually put in pause over there. Remember, there was a video there, "Hemp for Victory," by the Americans,
Yes.
where they encouraged their farmers to grow more cannabis in order to win the bloody war. So you have to put it all in perspective. You're like that the world was bloody in a state of shock, really. And while everybody was in a state of shock, they just kind of crept in this prohibition. And like when everybody came out of the shock, sure, the prohibition is there. It's like, oh, that must have been always there, kind of a thing. And we didn't
Yeah.
realize this was absent. And as you said then, health conditions started popping up that maybe weren't so prevalent then prior to that as a result of this lack of cannabinoids then in the diet. Because I'm definitely a big believer of animals being fed cannabis kind of rich products that enriches those animal products then with cannabinoids, which attribute benefits to us as when we consume them. And it's not even the meat; it could be the eggs, the milk, the cheese, all of that kind of stuff.
Everything. Definitely, for sure. There's a big, the internet is really, really, I don't know if the people that maybe brought the internet about maybe had it for nefarious sort of reasons, but the internet today and today's internet, it's a godsend for the likes of people like us, where we can
Big
go
time.
on to the likes of DuckDuckGo, and you can look up research from America, Canada, and Israel. Though a lot of the research in Israel, it is kept from the UK and Ireland, because a lot of UK tax dollars actually goes over to Israel to pay for medical cannabis research.
Yep.
They're way ahead of the field, and if you ask anybody in the streets, do you know exactly where your tax money's going and the stuff that they're researching and what it's being used for? No, nobody knows. Everybody wants to go home and watch Coronation Street instead. And that's just the way that the man in charge likes it, I suppose.
Yeah, that's it. Like that's probably one of the things maybe about the consumption of cannabis. It does make you stop and think and question things a little bit, and especially when it comes to your government, when they've lied to you about all things like cannabis. Like it's like, oh, if I'm consuming it, I know it's not doing all of these things you
Mhm.
tell me. What other things are you lying to me about? What other
Yeah,
parts of?
now
Do you know where else can't I trust you?
down the rabbit hole, as they say.
Yeah, so it does. Um, Alan, I suppose I'm going to be a bit cough for time there myself, but what's next for yourselves above there? So, are you going to be looking to continue to grow numbers? You're open to membership now for people to sign up?
I'm hoping, what I'm actually wanting to do is see that this sort of really just came about. There's a couple of different factors all just sort of fell into place all at once. So we went ahead with the Dry Herb Vape Lounge. What it started out as was somewhere where I can meet people to talk about CBD. And Martin, there's a lot of people coming up from across the border.
Nice.
They're coming up to talk about CBD, and that sort of has now manifested into, well, sure, more people can come up and we can all talk about CBD, or we can all talk about cannabis. But the people that I do know with private prescriptions for cannabis in the UK, they're all sitting in their house on their own. So maybe I would get a message and it would be a question, and maybe I know the answer because I've already spoke to another patient last week about it. But see if I can put them two patients in the same room
Yeah.
together and just leave them to it. That's what I want to do. Like, get these people to talk to each other face to face, because a lot of the people that are starting to wake up and use this medicine via private prescription, they're all they're elderly. They're grannies
Yeah,
and
no,
grandas.
that's
And
reflected down
uncles.
here in the current cannabis market too. A lot of the people going in consuming these CBD products, there a lot of them are elderly. They're interested in it as a way of reducing their inflammation, reducing their arthritis. Sorting out different issues. And again, that probably are beginning with cannabinoid deficiency. But yeah,
Mhm.
it is the elderly population, and you see that as well across the states and the US and Canada, that the elderly population are the after women. Actually, women are the fastest growing consumer market over there. But the in terms of age brackets, the elderly are 65 plus. That's the biggest
Mhm.
growing age bracket of consumers of cannabis. It's not the teenagers as the prohibitionists would have you believe. No, it's the opposite end of the scale, and for reasons you wouldn't be attributing to the cannabis side, or at least not the general public, you know. So
Hmm.
we've
Yes,
definitely
pretty much.
we're definitely coming
Yeah.
around the corner on this issue, I believe, Alan. And I think the opening up of a shop like your own, a place like that, is definitely going to help speed that up too.
Well, it's definitely garnered a lot of interest up here. Everybody wants to know when's it opening and how do you join and can I come up if I don't have a private script? And the answer is come up. It's basically just a place where we can come and actually sort the likes of these things out,
Yeah,
Martin. Because everybody has their own wee idea, or they're coming from a different background. But if we're all being prescribed the same medicine, and there's no help for anybody. There isn't. These people need a place where they can go and sit down and actually have a cup of tea and talk about the pros and cons of their actual strains, because there's chopping and changing strains every couple of months. Some random wrote on one of my posts, "Oh, this is brilliant, this is great. So then can I come up and sit down and take all my benzos and all my opioids and all the rest of it?" And the answer to that is very simple. That's what health centers are for.
yeah,
That's what hospitals are for. That's what health clinics are for. So see people that are just wanting to be smart arses, they're really sort of making an idiot out of themselves. And as you say, the more and more people are catching on to the suppression of cannabis, especially in the mainstream media, people like that and their views, that they're going out of fashion real fast.
yeah, yeah.
Martin, do you have any questions for me?
Um, um,
Specific from any of your followers?
I'm just kind of looking there at the moment now through the comments, and I'm not seeing any specific questions coming in, but there is one request there, right? Teresa said to leave you here to talk to everybody while I run and drop my daughter to her acro. I have to run away there to drop my daughter to her after school activities. It's going to take me about 5 minutes, but they have been
Yeah.
asking if you want to stay and chat with people. I don't know if you'll be able to kind of look at people's comments if you open up the YouTube stream if you wanted to. You're more than welcome to.
So YouTube. Let me see.
I can make your screen
Because I don't. There's no comments on the Zoom one.
yeah,
I have
they
to
wouldn't be up
find.
in the Zoom. Yeah, you'd have to open up the YouTube and you'd see it popping up in the hot box at the side.
What in this world?
But Eleanor Simmons is saying that you guys are great. Chronic pain is no joke. I'm not a depressive person, but did not want to be here at one point as my quality of life is very low. She says I go to church now and again and spoke up and told them how I function day to day now. I do give a poo and I don't give a poo anymore. I'd say she's saying as I'm walking, I don't get spasms, numbness, or the burning as long as I keep dosing with cannabis. I'd imagine. I even ride the bike again this year. I'm dairy free, gluten free, and take high iron, B12, vitamin D, and one med LDN, and the great herb cannabis. So that's Eleanor Simmons, just one of the many people out there benefiting from medicinal cannabis use.
Mm-hmm. I think I'm on here, I think.
Excellent, excellent. All right, so guys,
We've got.
if it's okay with Alan, so I'm gonna just shuffle off for like five to 10 minutes there, and get your questions into Alan. I leave the stream open there, and Alan's up in the yeah, he's in the hot seat. Is that cool with you, Alan? Sorry now for springing that on you. Just
Not.
these
That's
things are the
fine.
way working out. So hopefully it'll be great for everybody involved.
No problem. Sure, I love the sound of my own voice anyway.
Me too. I love that Northern Irish accent. Right, guys. I'll be back in 10. Be nice to Alan. Treat him nice, guys. John Finnegan, be well behaved out there now, you. Ah, right. Thanks again, Alan.
No worries. Well, guys. This is very unexpected. I'm excited about this. What we'll do? Well, of course, you know exactly what I'm going to do. Who wants to win some free seeds? Waha! We've got here Peyote Critical from Barney's Farm. Barney's Farm are one of the best and well-known and well-respected seed banks in Amsterdam. See, when I told them I was opening the dry herb vape lounge, they sent over a whole pile of seeds. So, guys, anybody that wants to win this, all you have to do is hashtag Martin's World in the YouTube comments, and I'll pick one of you as a winner. If you've also any questions about what I'm doing, fire them in. I have had some questions. That's why I says to Marty there, was there any questions in particular? So a couple of questions I've had coming in from people in the Republic of Ireland. they're asking about the Dry Herb Vape Lounge. Is there herb in it? There is no herb in it. The Vape Lounge supplies the vaporizers. So you yourself with your private script is your medical cannabis. That's what you bring with you. And you bring the container that it comes with. Up in the UK, up here, Northern Ireland falls under UK law. So up here on the container, there's a label on it and it'll have an expiry date. That expiry date is when your current prescription, that label, expires. So the contents of that tub is valid if it hasn't went past the expiry date on the tub. Once it goes past there, then you should be already in touch with your pharmacy about getting your next script. But anyway, guys, Peyote Critical, this is an autoflower from Barney's Farm. Barney's Farm, they're the boys, they're the boyos. Hashtag Martin's World on the YouTube, and because that's the comments I'm looking at, I can see them here. And here they're already flying in, brilliant. Zombie Nation, Billy Bonds, High on Homegrown, Orange Man Bod, brilliant. Happy days, guys. It's good to see you on. So here I'm gonna hijack you all. Make sure you go and follow NI Canna Guy on Facebook and Instagram. But my Facebook page is sitting at 9.5 thousand followers. It's been sitting like that for a wee while. Facebook really messed with me a couple of years ago. They actually tried to delete the whole thing. But whenever I do hit 10,000 followers on my page, I'm gonna come and tour the Republic of Ireland, all the wee towns. So guys, because Morton's in Cork's right down the bottom, and I'm in Belfast, so it's right up the top, and we'll have to meet. So once my page hits 10,000 followers, which is only need a couple hundred more. Once it hits 10,000 followers, guys, I'll be down to see you all, definitely. So if you're not like and follow the page on Facebook, get on it, and there's one on Instagram as well. So guys, hashtag Martin's World, and one of you is walking away here with an autoflower cannabis seed, Peyote Critical. Where's my camera? I had a terrible nightmare last night. I was doing an order last night for a friend, and there was a spilt RSO all over the place. You want to see it? My fingers are still sort of sticking together and everything. It was a nightmare. It was just tools down, everything off, and try and salvage as much as possible. But it didn't work out. That's the first time that's ever happened to me. So I thought it just popped into my head there. I was running about work last night, showing everybody a picture of my hands, absolutely covered. Like, so who is on here, guys? What's the crack with you all? There's a cannabis consumption lounge that finally opened in the Chicagoland area. It says your friendly neighborhood ganja man. America and Canada, that's fantastic. Even Asia are starting to have cannabis restaurants, you know, like a normal restaurant, only it's infused foods and stuff. It's normalized everywhere, you know, except unfortunately the UK, and I suppose you can throw Ireland in with that too. We're the biggest cannabis dealers on the planet, the biggest, and that's why the UK and Ireland are the hardest nuts to crack with legalization and decriminalization, because the guys that run this place are making an absolute fortune, hand over fist, a fortune. So the private scripts up here in the north you can get for chronic pain, and you can't get for chronic pain in the south. Is that right? Is there any of you out there that have tried for chronic pain and got knocked back? Good to see you all, Anthony. Kieran says, what's your favorite strain by Barney's Farm? Well, I really like wedding cake. I like the Cali wedding cake that they do, and their dosey dose is pretty nice, like. But I wouldn't be going for the Cali weed a lot. Maybe like special occasions and stuff. You know, like when you would get that big bottle of grouse or the big bottle of special whiskey every once in a while. That's maybe I would dabble with that, but I don't grow or anything up here, so any seeds that I get, I would usually just give away. I do know a couple of growers, so any real nice strains come my way, and I want to see what it's like, and maybe throw it on up a line, you know. Orange Man Bod's gonna be my new subscriber. Definitely, I'll keep an eye out for you. Let's see. R420 Supplies says, give me a shout when you're passing through the Midlands. Will do indeed. Big shout out to the Czech Republic. Terpene infused food is popping up everywhere. It is popping up everywhere. We're hoping to do at wee lounge, at wee dry herb vape lounge I'm in. More than likely it'll be the afternoons I'm there, but during the daytime there's another woman there, and she does a lot of she's actually a qualified chef, so a lot of the teas and the coffees and the fruit juices and all the sort of fresh stuff that she would do up there, it would all be infused. It on request, of course. Most of it's just CBD, but you know, as me and Martin were talking about earlier on there, near enough everybody in this sort of area, we're all suffering from endocannabinoid deficiency. Whether you want to accept that or not, it doesn't matter. It's still happening, and that's the talk of a lot of the top medical professionals that I'm sort of in touch with. That's what they're looking at. There's loads of stuff on YouTube that you can look up, and it's seminars and talks, and there is actual people out discussing this and talking, but it's all hidden. You know, you have to actually look for it, but it is there. Let's see. I've got the YouTube up here, so I can see some of your comments. Casa das Drogas. Only a small few cases of prescriptions for chronic pain in the Republic, and the only strain prescribed for it has been Jack Herer, which for some doesn't relieve pain. I've tried the Jack Herer from Rockshaw, Bedrocan, the Bedrocan Jack Herer. It's called Afina. That's the name of it. It's called Afina. That's the Jack Herer strain that we get up here. I've tried it. It was nice, but the best strain I've tried, the best medical cannabis strain I've tried that's available on private script is the Gorilla Glue. The Gorilla Glue number 4. But I've only tried it. My prescription is for it's White Widow crossed with Amnesia Haze. That's what I've been prescribed by a medical professional, and you can't take the smile off my face, like, you know. So guys, hashtag Morton's World. I'm gonna pick somebody for this seed. And we'll get it posted out to you as well. So the private scripts up in the north, there's hundreds of us now. There's thousands and thousands right across England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. There is a lot. So I thought the time was right to be able to open up some sort of facility for these people to come and meet each other, and that's exactly what they've done. On Saturday we had a very soft opening. I invited a few people up that I know have private prescriptions, and of course private's in the name, you know, so it isn't the sort of place where it's not like a zoo. You know, if you're not a member and you're not coming in to stand and look at somebody using their private prescription for medical cannabis. That's not what this is for. This is for people with prescriptions to come in and talk to each other. Somebody mentioned the Jack Herer, the Afina. There's other strains. There's LA Confidential, Caro, Kosher Kush, and that's just an example. They all have their own names on the Medical Cannabis Cannapedia. If you look it up, www.cannapedia.org.com, I think, and on there you'll find the strain info, the price list, all the rest of it. And a lot of it is the street names, you know, it'll be there. But as I say, you know, we're way behind. The public, the general public, are way behind. I would say the people at the top, the likes of the Lords in Westminster and the the high profile TDs down there, I would say they're pretty up to date with what's going on. For when I spoke to one of the MLAs up here last week about opening the vape lounge, which they wished me all the luck for, which was amazing. Whenever I spoke to them, I started to talk to them about certain things and doctors, and they knew them. They knew. They were able to tell me stuff that's smack bang up to date with medical cannabis research. And none of it's ever in the public knowledge. So the high profile politicians are very much in the pockets of big pharma. Just put it that way. So I have. What was I saying there about the strains? I was actually had a point there, did I? I can't remember. Sounds like a great excuse for a road trip north. You're right. Come on up. Everybody's welcome. Zombie Nation says I replaced tramadol with it, and it's great. I used to be addicted to tramadol. I was given tramadol for sciatica, which is chronic pain, but according to the cannabis clinics up in the UK, sciatica isn't painful enough. Sciatica I was diagnosed with. Then they said it was a trapped nerve, and then they said it was something else. But they gave me tramadol, and I was taking the tramadol, and it was great because they worked. And then I started to feel like I needed to take my tramadol to go to work, to have a good day and work, to be, your usual bouncy self, and having the banter and having the crack at work. And then I found myself, I was having to take my tramadol just to get up out of bed. It was the first thing on my mind. Whenever I woke up, I'm going to have to take my painkillers to get up out of bed here and function and get up on me and go to work. So in the end, over the space of about 10 years, I became extremely heavily addicted to tramadol, and it wasn't even my own. I was taking my own. I'd upped my prescription from the doctor as much as I could. They were giving me other painkillers on top of that. And then I was going around my family and I was asking them, I've run out of tramadol. And of course they're like, here you go, whatever they had. So I ended up completely addicted to painkillers. And a lot of people close to me up around here over the years have committed suicide. So the doctors put me on antidepressants as well. So at one point I was a walking opioid center. It was mess up your insides over the course of the next few years. They don't say that, and the only thing that broke that addiction was CBD, and it was by accident. I stumbled across it by accident. There was a CBD shop popped up in Belfast one day, and I seen the leaf straight over, and rest is history. Marty is back. Martin, what's happening? So we'll get these sticks as we earphones back on.
Yes.
Welcome, Marty. Here, everybody's really, really nice things to say about you.
Oh, really? Yeah, thanks. I hope you're not telling tall tales.
you can pick a random winner. It's from Barney's Farm. It's called Peyote Critical. It's an auto flower.
Oh, very nice.
It's a wee sample pack. So you can pick anybody you want there. You don't have to do it now, but just
excellent.
Catching you up there on what we've been talking about.
Give me a second. I must put in my comment and pick the winner then.
No worries.
Pick out myself.
As long as it's not that John Finnegan one, he's in for everything, isn't he?
Yeah, he's an awful chance for him. They've been nice, Jenny, since I've been gone.
I have indeed. There's loads of questions have flew in and loads of hashtags as well.
Ah, lovely. Yeah, I see all the hashtags coming up. I was kind of wondering what it was there at first, but well done, Alan. I'm doing a giveaway over here. You're an absolute legend. And I do apologise for abandoning you there for that short period.
Not at all, mate. Sure, that's what we're here for, isn't it?
Yeah, I was getting given out to there for my small. She's like, Dad, I'm going to be late. I was like, sorry, I understand.
Oh, God love her. You're terrible. You're terrible. You double pocket money for her this week. Definitely pulling that one.
Treat her.
Here, somebody's asked me a question about driving. What are your thoughts on the drug driving laws? People are being swabbed roadside days after consumption and getting charged. So up here in the north, there is no official framework for driving with your private prescription. I do know in England, some of the groups are addressing that and publishing stuff. What I've actually done is went to the DVLA up here, which are the people that license the driving, that give you your driving license. I've approached them and I told them, private prescription for cannabis, I drive everywhere. I'm not breaking the law and the police haven't a clue. So what they have actually came back with, this is actually what it is down there. It's a DVLA up here.
Mm-hmm.
You tell them you've got a private prescription for cannabis, they will, first step, and it's not bad, right? The first step, they will take your license off you. The second step is they will send you for a medical. And the third step is they will send you for an evaluation with a shrink. And then once them 2 boxes are done, they give you your license back and say, if you feel drowsy on your thing, you know, the usual, if you feel drowsy, don't operate heavy machinery.
Yeah.
That's the advice. And it was like, you're obviously able to drive. You're not a mental case, you know, so we've basically just give you a physical. So that's what they're doing. They're giving people a physical and giving them their licenses back, you know, so.
That's mad. So during that period, you can't drive at all. You've no license, obviously. And
No.
how long did that
Well,
take?
I can understand. There's another couple of guys I know up here. They're fork truck drivers in factories, and one of them told his company, "I've got a private prescription," and the other one didn't. And guess which one's still driving the fork truck?
The one who did? No, the one who didn't.
The one that didn't. Yeah,
Really?
the one that
Okay.
didn't disclose it.
So
So the
honesty isn't
factory, the
always the best
company,
policy.
the company have says, right, we'll just they moved him. They moved him to a different part of the factory, so he's not happy about it, you know. But it also brings up the question, you know, what are these companies supposed to do? Because as I said earlier, when you were away, there's hundreds and hundreds of private scripts now up here. There's thousands right across the islands. There's thousands,
No
you know.
ways.
So all these people are driving about.
Yeah, and there's no kind of provisions there in the law. Down in Ireland, down in the south, in the Republic, we have there's provisions there. All right, the Garda can show their discretion. So if somebody is able to prove that they have they're a holder of a medical cannabis license, then it's down to the Garda then to determine whether that person is impaired to a point to where they're
Yeah.
incapable of controlling the vehicle, I suppose. You know, so it's down to the Garda discretion, and so it'll be based upon, you know, where you're swerving all over the road, where you're driving recklessly, you know, before they pull you in. They'll base it upon that. So I definitely do think that we're a bit more ahead of you down here in that respect. I suppose, you know, they've already legislated for medical cannabis users who drive their car at the same time too. And we've already put that into our driving laws down here in this side of the border. So it's interesting. But yet still, we've got 30 people who've got access to it. You're telling me you've hundreds? That's crazy. How did we manage to do that?
Well, at one point, medical cannabis was legal in the Republic of Ireland, and there was a good year and a half, I think year and a half at least gap before we got it, you know. So you guys were ahead for a while, and then it was like, it's like we catch up, and then somebody goes out in front with something else, and then, you know, you catch up. But the bigger picture, really, all this needs to be put together under one umbrella, under one grip.
Yeah.
You know, there's, as you say, you're ahead maybe with the driving, where maybe the other groups in England, they're finding it really difficult even where to start with the driving, you know. So that's, you know, that sort of thing. I think that the powers that be would rather have it that way anyway, just keeping us all sort of separated and divided.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, well, there is no reason for, like, if you're a medical user, I'm not a medical user, that you're allowed to use the cannabis and drive as long as you're not drowsy. But I can't do that same thing, you know, and be, you know, a responsible consumer of cannabis as well, and to be able to decide, you know, whether I'm impaired to a point where I'm not a responsible driver any longer. And I do believe that cannabis allows you to make that decision and that distinction. Unlike alcohol, let's say, where, you know, you can be blind drunk, as the saying goes. You literally just go out and get into your car and not question yourself at all, because you're not engaging with that part of your brain. That's the complete opposite with cannabis. You're completely and totally engaging with that part of your brain, which will say, uh, I'm really high right now, I might crash my car. Well, I'm not going to drive, you know. Because if you're that high, you will kind of think that the worst possibly could happen, and then you will act accordingly. I definitely would
Mhm.
like to think that cannabis consumers would be responsible in that kind of light anyway, and reflect upon their actions before they engage in them.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely. I would agree with that. People can be blind drunk and they're like, I'll be all right, or I'll be careful, I'll be all right. But as you say, whenever you're thinking logically, you're like, nah, you're not gonna be all right, or it's dangerous. There might be other people, there might be pedestrians about. I don't drink anymore anyway, so I'm completely against even the drink driving limit is a farce. It should be zero. You shouldn't be drinking and driving at all. And the drink driving limit up here, I think it's whatever units it is, but as you know, your physical appearance is all that makes all the matter. Somebody could have a pint and it would be legless, whereas somebody
yeah.
maybe have a pint and there'd be nothing wrong with them. So alcohol's a real big problem up here. But this is the thing, Martin. Ireland's famous for drinking alcohol. So how do you turn around and tell people to stop drinking alcohol? It's a dodgy one. You could end up in small outside your house.
Yeah, you don't, and I think we done the correct thing down there, and we educated the people as to how to consume alcohol responsibly, and obviously, with all drugs, not consuming the drug is probably the best way to avoid harms from that drug. But if you are going to
Mhm.
consume it, you can do it responsibly. Drink a pint of water between your pints of beer. Like space it out, things like that. Harm reduction techniques, you can reduce the harms caused by that, and that goes the same for every other drug. The,
Yeah,
the safest thing is not to do them, but if you are going to do them, is there in relation to the consumption of whatever drug it might be. Um, you know,
definitely.
can I
Mhm.
ask Alan, how much in your prescription? What's your like dose? How much you prescribe to consume daily?
2 grams.
2 grams a day. Okay, that's not too bad.
Two, 2 grams a day via vaporization.
Okay, yeah, and
To start with.
vaporize
Yeah,
as
to
required.
start with, they recommend 0.1 gram to start with and build up, but it's 2 grams a day is my prescription. So I think that works out at like half an ounce a week or something.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not too bad. That's like an ounce a month. It's maybe a bit less than what I might consume myself, but sometimes you get
Same here.
yeah, you get a bit carried
Same
away.
here.
And
It's Go ahead.
the cost of it then is it much different to the cost of some other stuff that might have been available to you before you had a license?
Yes, there's big differences between the black market weed and the private prescription weed. The private prescription cannabis, before I had my prescription and I was being shown examples of it from people that were getting it, it wasn't great quality, but it was only sort of the start, if you know what I mean. It was the start of the private prescription starting to come through. Some of them still isn't great, but the likes of Bedrocan and stuff, their cannabis is getting a lot better.
Nice.
The price for mine, the one that I've been prescribed is called Cairo, and I
Okay.
looked it up on the Cannapedia, and it's White Widow crossed with Amnesia Haze, which is two of the strains, two of my favorite strains. It's like destiny, but that works out for the flower. It works out at £5 a gram, which is about half of what the price is for cannabis on the black market. It's about £10 a gram for cannabis on the black market, but the other side of the coin is, and that's why I said about the quality. Some of the cannabis on the black market in Northern Ireland is like amazing quality, like it's really strong, or it would be a lot more favorable than say maybe having to wait for a 5 gram tub coming from somewhere that maybe you don't know who it is that's preparing it, and maybe they're not. You get what I'm trying to say
Yeah,
here,
yeah, yeah. I follow. Yeah, yeah.
it,
So as a consumer, I suppose, like if you want to get the best of both worlds, like you want to be able to have your tub with your prescription on it, but you still want to be able to get access to some of what you kind of described there. That better cannabis from the black market. Um, is there a workaround? Like if you got black market cannabis and you just put it in your tub, and that tub is still in date, you're after consuming your prescription. Like there's no way for the PSNI to kind of say, hey, that's black market cannabis now. It's kind of like the banana situation again, isn't
No comment.
it? I don't want to get you in trouble,
Yes,
Alan.
yeah, you can. I've come across some people now and they've went here, look at my wee tub and they've opened it and it's maybe been a wee bit of cali weed or something on it.
Okay.
And that's good for them. If you're happy enough to pay a couple of £100 for your private prescription and your consultations and you're giving back your feedback as well,
Yeah.
if I don't see a problem with that. The tubs, it's not as if anybody's really going to be running about with a big massive whack of cannabis. If it's a private prescription, it's going to be discreetly kept.
Hmm.
And the tubs they do, there's 10-gram bags I've seen in the 5-gram tubs. As far as I know, the cap is 60 grams a month. You can't order more unless there's an exceptional reason why. So that's about 2 ounces over a month. If you're sourcing cannabis from the black market and it would be 2 ounces a month to put into your tub, you're buying cannabis twice.
Yeah.
You're having to buy it twice. So I don't know. A lot of people, I'll be honest with you, Martin, a lot of people just want to get better. Like I do. I smoke far too much and I am trying my best to switch to vaporizing.
Hmm.
And it's definitely, it tastes better is the first big thing, but a lot of people that are actually paying the money for a private prescription, whenever they are feeling the benefits, that's what they're looking for. They're not looking for the best high, or they're
Hmm.
not looking for the dankest strain or
Oh,
the most famous strain. They just want to get better, and as long as that is at the core of what's happening, and as long as the prices stay down, and I'm all for it. Hopefully the likes of this vape lounge, it's a pathway. It's for everybody to look at and go, here, we can do that. I've already had people get in touch with me from England asking, here, what's the big catch? How have you done that? We want to do that sort of thing. And that's music to my ears. I want everybody to do this because, as you say, you can go down a line of conversation there where you're reaching a very grey area that ultimately is unpoliceable.
yeah, yeah. No, I definitely would agree with you there. And can I ask you there as well? Has like the number of prescriptions as they increase, have you seen like a reduction then in the amount of people coming forward and looking for help from like the NI Compassion Club? Have you been seeing like the old members maybe that you might have had there now holding prescriptions and no longer relying on the those bad boys who grow cannabis out there and provide for the patients illegally? Have you seen a
Well,
turnaround there at all?
there is a difference where people would approach NI Compassion for their oils.
Mm-hmm.
People would approach me for information about private prescriptions and stuff. And if they then go on and get a private prescription, they're getting a prescription for flour. They do come in 3 parts. So if you were up here and you were going through your consultation, they'll offer you CBD oil, THC oil, and cannabis flour.
Mm-hmm.
You can take all three. Most people at the very start did, but it all adds up to the cost. But what they were finding was they were coming back to NI Compassion for their CBD oil because the private prescription oil wasn't good enough. So the trend I'm seeing from the people I'm in touch with that are using NI Compassion oil, if they have a private prescription, it's for flour, and they're still continuing to use the Compassion clubs for their oils. And in some cases, and I have it in black and white. A friend of mine sent it to me, and it's in black and white that they have their private prescription for flour, and they're sourcing their oils from a Compassion club, which they've been told to continue to do. And that's a couple of different. That's not just the Compassion club I'm involved with. So that, in its sense, the patients are getting excited. I know I keep calling them patients. I don't have any patients. I'm not a doctor. The people that are other people's patients, um, they're finding this absolutely amazing. That finally, a medical professional is saying you're using CBD and it's working. That's great. Keep going. Because a normal GP or clinician, even myself, the back of my head, I have a wee touch of alopecia, and that's what I went to my GP about the last time I seen them. And the all I wanted to do was throw tablets at me, and I said I had this before, and I used CBD, and it really helped. And as soon as I stopped talking, they just kept talking about what they CBD. It was completely ignored. It went right over their head, you know. So now that people are actually getting prescribed cannabis in the north, and for the likes of chronic pains, a lot of them are elderly and they just want to play with their grandchildren, you know. So these people, as I say, they're not looking for like a big mad high or some expensive Californian strain. You know, they just
Yeah.
want to get better. So this
And
is this is the way forward, mate. When's yours opening, Martin?
oh, very soon, hopefully. I've been looking around for locations. That the rent is bloody nuts down here at the moment, and city
Yeah.
rates are even worse. It's incredibly
Oh,
restrictive.
I'd say so.
But I've my eyes peeled wide open, and hopefully I'll come across a spot there very soon. That's going to be fitting for what I'm looking to do. Very similar to
Yeah.
yourself, but I would be probably a bit bolder. And we don't have private prescriptions down here either for me to kind of touch off of. But just opening up what will be a vapor lounge. I'm thinking of calling it, and do you know, don't anybody be robbing my name now. But the vape escape is what I'm. The vape
Oh,
escape,
that's nice. That's cheeky.
yeah. So I was
Vape
thinking,
escape. Oh, okay.
yeah. So I was thinking of opening that up and kitting it out with all of the varieties of vaporizers that are there, the dry herb vaporizers, having them available for people to kind of come in and rent, or for people to sign up as members as well, much like what you have above there. It'll be a private member space, or open to people who want to come in and rent out the vapes. And
Yeah.
yeah, just have like refreshments there, then a few nice kind of cannabis themed treats, then, brownies, cookies, and stuff like that. All CBD,
That's
CBG,
exciting.
and the legal cannabinoids, of course. Um,
Yeah.
and again,
Oh, it's
people will be
exciting.
invited to come in with their own CBD flowers as well. And we don't have any sort way in which we can check if it's CBD, so we just have to trust people.
I love that. I love see as soon as that's open, mate, I'd be straight down. Definitely. We actually have, I've got it. We have to call it a certain thing,
Yeah,
but I have it, and it's available. CBD hemp. That's what we have to call it up here. If we say CBD, anything else of them words you used,
yeah,
that's the catch, and it's ridiculous. So we have it. If anybody asks us what it's for, you can vape it, and but I would just recommend making tea with it. But it has to be called CBD hemp for us to be able to retail it without any trouble.
okay.
So we've went ahead and done that. So we do have that in stock.
And letting
What
people
I can't
and letting people
go ahead.
vaporize that on the property is no issue.
Vaping, there is no actual laws against vaping indoors.
Yeah,
There's
same
no
down
laws
here.
against vaping anything. You know,
Excellent.
people want to come in and vape, they're more than welcome. We don't have any of the wee e-liquid pens, you know, then we funny thing. We don't have any of them.
Yeah,
What I can say, and I would definitely recommend this, I emailed the manufacturers of the volcanoes and the packs, and the volcano ones, the stores in Pickle, I emailed them every day for about a week until they eventually answered me. And now they're I'm an official retailer for stores in Pickle. So like I've only got the hybrid and the classic, but hopefully whenever the first sort of delivery arrives and we're up and running, hopefully it won't be more than 2 weeks. We're going to be able to have these devices for people that actually want to buy one and take it home.
excellent.
Or if somebody comes up and says, I have my handheld Mighty, but the top of it broke off, we're going to be able to say that's no problem. We've got the spare part, so that's a big, massive plus for us. And the guys from PAX, they're not up along. They're only a couple of years old. Their vaporizers are very more discreet. They sell themselves if you're standing in front of a woman who maybe has a clutch handbag, because
Hmm.
they're perfect for that. They have a UK rep who's coming. I think he's going to come over. The way he's been talking, they're sending us, the cardboard pop-ups for all their literature and their
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
and he says they're going to send a demo device. So
Nice.
I emailed all these companies and says, look, we're doing this. This is what we're doing. You guys have the devices. I want to provide them. What do you think? And the response has been really, really, it's been huge. Stores and Bickle's a bit of a nightmare, but they eventually do get back. But I've had emails from the cannabis clinics in England as well. They want to
Excellent.
send over information and things like that. People they've responded. So the likes of the medical cannabis information it's there. It might be
Nice.
sitting beside all the seed bank information, but it's there. But that's what people want. That's what people want to know.
Oh, that's the job. That sounds epic. I look forward to seeing it once it's like fully kitted out now. I look forward to getting up there for a visit. We're just
It's going to be good, mate. The
wait.
vape escape sounds very exciting. I would be very interested in that.
Yeah, yeah, should be a good one. Again, it'll be the main point of having it is just like yourself to bring people together to talk about this and the like-minded people out there. I know you're more
Yeah,
patient orientated above there, but we'll definitely have that as a central part of it down here. But for us, it's definitely the wider community out there. Everybody who consumes this plant or has any interest in it at all. This will be a kind of a safe space to come and meet like-minded people and chatting and relish over the herb. Should be good fun, all
grand.
right. Can I ask Alan just to go back to the NI Compassion Club? Given that there's
Mhm.
all these private prescriptions up there now, and they've been servicing the community up there for quite a while too, and I'm sure there's many people very happy with the service they provided. Is there any pathway forward for them to legitimise what they're doing and to become a legitimate supplier through these private licenses in the north of Ireland?
I'm not too sure about that,
Okay.
Marty. The oils from NI Compassion, compared to what you would find in maybe a CBD shop or
Hmm.
something, is a lot more stronger and potent. The the CBD oil on private prescription is coming back about 50%. So that would be the standard, which it isn't a great standard. Um, the CBD oil from NI Compassion at the moment is sitting at 80% pure CBD, and the makeup of it is 100% cannabinoids. So the likes of MCT oil or coconut oil or them sort of things aren't present. And if you really wanted to put those sort of products into an actual shop, you would have to seriously reduce the strength because you won't get it. The government don't want this. The government don't want this out on the high street. They're trying to shut down all the CBD shops, and the stuff they have in their shops is great for sleep, and
Yeah.
that would be about it. It's minute. Um, so yes, I could see maybe a big investor, maybe somebody with a lot of clout behind them, setting up that sort of thing legitimately and maybe having it CBD only. Um,
But just
but I
still
would
no
say
pathway forward.
anybody, I not, I would say anybody that's doing that, they would be looking up here. There's the word on the street. The word on the street up here is anybody that has any sort of clout with CBD, they're trying to sell it to the NHS. They're trying to supply the NHS, which is that's I wake up and have your Weetabix really, um for the actual compassion clubs themselves on the ground. The private clinics are supporting them. They will talk to the patients about them, and they will recommend if it's working for you.
Keep going.
They'll also You can send them samples as well. I've had people send samples of oil over to clinics, and that's it's all good because it's good for them too. But you
As
know,
in the clinic would test the oil then, or have it sent for testing for them?
I would say so. I wouldn't think it would be official,
Okay.
but I would dare to say it would be if you want to show us what you're actually using, because a lot of the people over in Northern Ireland that are with NI Compassion, the cannabis clinic that they would get their flour from, they now know exactly who NI Compassion are,
Nice.
so it's built up quite a good reputation
Yeah, that's great to
where
hear.
yeah, if somebody says, well, I know you prescribe CBD oil, but I'm actually sourcing it from a compassion club. And I mean, the clinic, they're sort of unofficially they are supporting it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's it's unfortunate that there's no pathway forward for them to kind of legitimize themselves and come out of that black market or grey area that they're operating in. Especially considering, like, and I know you say that their oils are incredibly potent, but that's like if they were to come into a legitimate market, they just stick a label on it and say it's 80% THC, and the patient just doses appropriately. Then it's just a case of working it out, the ratio of THC to body weight of the patient there, that's down to the health professionals. I wouldn't see that being any major issue, but I definitely do think that something you said there is like the big investors, that's all this industry is being kind of kept for, is like people with big, deep pockets. Dudes who wear suits, dudes who haven't been arrested for cannabis consumption, and who certainly haven't bloody marched for the ending of its prohibition. That's who they're keeping
Yeah,
the market for. And that really pisses me off. Given that I got from myself, I gave 4 years to go to college to learn herbal science. I really thought when I started that course in 2014 that by the time it ended in 2018 that there would have been some legitimate cannabis market that I could go off and work in and help patients and utilize all of this
Yeah.
knowledge I got in my head. But unfortunately, here we are, 2021 now, 3 years after graduating, and yet still cannabis is only for a very elite class of people, you know, the Israeli guys, the GW Pharmaceuticals, now Jazz Pharmaceuticals. It
Hmm.
really just pisses me off, like, as it just stinks of corruption and hypocrisy that you're going to be criminalized if you grow this plant for your own medicinal use, and these guys can grow it, you know, fucking football fields full of it and sell it back to you at an incredibly high cost too. It
Yeah.
just stinks. The whole thing stinks. You know, you're getting criminalised for a
That's,
plant under Schedule 1 of the Misuse of Drugs Act, meaning it has little to no medicinal value, high potential for abuse.
mhm.
But meanwhile, there's a 12-year-old child started it when she was 7, and she's been seizure free since starting it. Show me the
Yeah,
abuse there. Show me the harm there. And show me how it's not
exactly. It's
medicinal.
a it's a no-brainer for sure, definitely. And even the likes of ourselves, if we weren't such heavy cannabis users, wouldn't even want to think about what sort of weird diagnoses I would have. If I wasn't a heavy cannabis user, I'd probably have me locked up by now,
Yeah.
with a straight jacket and all. I mate, you're nuts.
I would have to agree with you there as well. Kind of looking back when I was 15, my decision making wasn't the greatest. I always kind of say it. I didn't engage with my thoughts. I never really thought about the long term consequences of things I might have engaged in. But kind of certainly allowed me to do that, and I definitely think that I headed down a much better path in life at that point. You know, when I made that decision, it's like a fork in the road, and I'm really happy with where I ended up. And you know, I'm not that I'm happy to be a fucking all of the shit I had to go through, but
Yeah.
cannabis, you know, it's been by and large beneficial to me in my life, despite you know the criminalization I had to face because of it.
Hmm.
Still, the benefit cannabis outweighs that negative, you know.
Yeah. Oh, it definitely does. It is the way forward, and it's getting more and more accepted. And it's thanks to people like you that that's happening, especially down in the Republic, Martin, because you've punched through the whole control of virus narrative, and you got through onto the mainstream media with your campaign at the Taoiseach's door. I love that. That was brilliant. I come down and I seen you in July in
Yeah,
Dublin. I know it wasn't there long, and things like this are really gathering speed in the south. I've give a couple of interviews to the papers up here in the last 3 weeks regarding the vape lounge, and I told all the journalists, I says, you'll never get this printed. And some of them were like, what are you talking about? Of course I will. I'm the reporter, I'm the lad, they print all my stuff. And, 3 weeks later, and they stopped replying to my messages, when they finally realized I hear the editor's not gonna print that, and you're like, you have to sort of so seeing things that you're doing down there, making the Irish news and making, actual mainstream news
yeah.
is unbelievable. And I really do take my hat off to you. Well done. And keep it up, man.
Well,
Keep it
thanks
up.
very much, Alan. I appreciate it. I'm really happy with some of the actions I engaged in that definitely achieved their goals there, and capturing the attention of the public. And let's hope, fingers crossed. Remember, the 5th of November will be something our government won't soon be forgetting. Once we send them out all of these
Definitely.
cannabis joints there at the end of the week.
That sounds amazing. I'd love to be a fly on the wall, in the office in the opening. Where are all these letters coming from? It's all joints.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then probably, as I heard what you were saying earlier on before it come on, even if you're not too sure, you can just use a wee bit of oregano or something like that
Yeah,
there. So that would be even better.
yeah.
If they went, oh, I can't believe they sent that. I'm gonna smoke it anyway. And you're like, ah, no, you're not, man.
Right, Job. Yeah, so,
Good initiative.
somebody else recommended earlier to stick in some Haribo jellies as well in the envelopes. You know, given all of the recent kind of fearmongering they've done around cannabis edibles, you know, and stick in a
Oh
kind of
yeah.
few jellies into the packet there for them as well. And all it's going to do, like, is if a politician here in Ireland receives a letter and it has a cannabis joint in it and some jellies, well, that has to be sent to the authorities, and those jellies have to be tested, and you know, it's just going to create a fucking a havoc within the system, because the system here in the south, it's already under incredible pressure. Forensic Science Ireland, the guys who test all the drugs down here, they can't keep up
Hmm.
with the amount of drugs coming in, because obviously with the pandemic, our cops down here are making seizures, that are breaking records. So the FSI then, this record-breaking seizures, they're putting them under pressure. They can't keep up with it. So like,
Hmm.
if we get, I would hope that, I'm going to be sending over 200 joints on Friday. I would hope we can get another like 2,000 people there to get involved, like maybe, and we've 2,000 cannabis joints or 2,000 oregano joints or something like that. Like, any kind of herb, but just to be a thorn in the side of the policymakers, much like they've been a thorn in our side.
Yeah.
And it's a kind, it's light-hearted as well, it's peaceful, civil, no one's getting hurt.
Well, this is it, and that's a big plus for cannabis. Nobody does get hurt, do they? Really?
No, the,
Maybe the odd person gets hit for a big pizza bill or something,
yeah,
or the fridge gets raided, or there's a shopping bill comes in. But besides that, I've yet to meet anybody that actually now. I know everything in moderation, and you can smoke too much cannabis and it'd be bad for you, but it's the same as too much anything. But I've yet to actually come across somebody that has used cannabis um, medicinally and it's had a negative effect, or it's they've been allergic to it or something like that. I've yet to come across that. So definitely the endocannabinoid system needs to be put front and center,
yeah.
front and center. So hopefully that's something we can do. And the likes of hopefully your lounge will be open soon and mine lounge is open. That's the sort of information that people are going to be getting when they walk in.
Yeah, definitely. And if anything down here, it's just another talking point for the media when the cops come kicking my door and it's like, hey, you can't be doing that. It's like, right, guys,
What are you talking about? This is only oregano. You should have that sitting at the door ready just to grab. What? That's where I'm at. No, don't let me.
oregano vaporizer, sir.
I got a big gravity bong, the pill thing. It looks like a big egg timer, and you swing it round, and it's got the water in it.
Yeah,
As you fill half of it up with water, and then when you turn it round, it bubbles down, and you've the pipe. I think Seth Rogen done a video with one years ago. The American actor.
yeah, yeah.
I got one of them, and I have it still in the box, but I have a wee sign written on it, and I don't know whether to put it in the lounge or not because it was quite expensive. But it's just the sign simply says open in case of decriminalization because it's a big, massive, massive bong thing, but
Lovely, yeah.
maybe, I don't know. Yeah,
Uh,
it's an idea.
how much did that bad boy cost you? It's a nice little gadget, in fairness, like very fancy.
It cost £500. I got it for my birthday, but I did have to contribute towards it. Like I didn't, my wife got me it for my birthday, so she paid for half of it.
Nice. That's the job. We won't go spilling the beans, so how much you pay for your old prezi.
Well, this is the thing. I got it in August. My birthday was the end of August, and it's still sitting in the box, not open.
Y-
I've been looking at it, and every now and again, I'll open that, or I've maybe done a video where I'm, have the box, but
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. It's something inside. It's just saying, dude, if you open that, you're gonna have to like do some serious like video or do something really huge or big, make a big deal. So I'm sitting here going,
Ah.
I think it's just sitting there not open. And here we are in November and it's still sitting there not open. So maybe that's something I can bring to your lounge.
Maybe so, yeah, definitely. If you can manage the pressure of traveling across the country with it, like, seems like you're very like attached to it already, yeah, and you haven't even used it.
I haven't even used it. I was sitting with my arm around it for the first week I had it.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
No, I would love one of those things that they look just really cool. I've seen Rogan only use it; it just turns the thing upside down. It just looks really
Yeah.
cool. So it's just a gravity bong, like it's kind of like taking your five liter bottle, but just really with style this time, though.
That's it. We're all adults now. We're not we're not up in the bathroom over the bath with the 2 liter bottle of Coke anymore.
No, definitely not. And just on the competition, I was just looking through the comments there, and I kind of said to myself, whoever's comment was the first on screen when I went over to the Facebook page, and it was Teresa O'Connell.
Lisa
So
O'Connell.
yeah, so Teresa is the very lucky winner there of that prize. So Mark that one down in your diary book. Teresa will probably get in touch with you there. You know Teresa anyway. She's probably a frequenter over there on your page as well.
She is indeed. I
Excellent.
uh, I tried to put that onto the camera and blow smoke, and it wasn't even there, so that probably looked real daft. So Teresa, congratulations! You're a winner. You've won yourself an auto seed from Barney's Farm. I think it's a seed pack, but I think there's only one in it. And it's called Peyote Critical.
Very nice.
Get in touch with Martin, and he will get in touch with me, and we will get that to you. I did meet Teresa. Teresa and a couple of her chums came up to Belfast 710.
That's right. I was gutted I couldn't make it up myself on the time, given everything that's going on down here with ourselves and the pregnancy. But
And your interview. Never mind the pregnancy. Let's talk about your interview.
oh well, yeah, that was the same day actually with Tommy Chong. Yeah,
Aye.
that's right. I actually forgot that was the same day. That was epic actually with Tommy Chong. He was an absolute pleasure to chat with too. And he only came on after he heard that I had you on. Apparently, he's just like, you that kind of guy.
Oh no! Stop! Oh, stop! That's definitely that's a big A-lister where the cannabis community is concerned. That was huge, and again, well done. Brilliant.
Thanks. Yeah. Well, I was blown away. I wouldn't have got it without the guys at High and Homegrown. They put me in touch with his agent, his manager, and yeah, I was incredibly blown away. I don't know if you watched the interview, but I was starstruck, like
Oh,
talking to the guy.
I, I'm trying. I'm trying my best. I've been emailing like mad the last couple of months. I'm trying my best to get an interview with Tyson,
Tyson
but I
Fury,
can't. No,
Mike
Mike
Tyson.
Tyson.
Oh yeah, sorry,
er,
the other boxer.
He's he's the Tyson Fury. He won't leave me alone. He keeps he keeps on looking. He's ringing, going, "All right, mate. When's the best CBD?" He's flipping nuts. No, Mike Tyson opened the Tyson Ranch,
That's right.
and he has a big, massive cannabis farm, and he's only the publicity for it is only sort of starting to gather
Mm.
good momentum. I've been trying to get a hold of him. Obviously not him. I've been emailing his team like mad, saying, "Look, just give me 10 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever, But obviously, he's a very,
Do
very
one
busy
round with
man.
him.
Yeah, imagine get one round. Just give me one round,
Just one
Mike. Come
round.
on.
Just one 3 minutes. Come
Imagine
3 minutes.
come on. Would you ask him? Would you ask him a question on purpose so that he would have to say cannabis?
Oh, maybe so. Have you had the
Maybe.
pleasure of trying any of these cannabis at all?
No,
I got
no.
I got to
I would
try
love to.
I got to try the toad.
Right?
I got sent over from the States. Buddy paid I think it was like $100 or $120 for an eight of it, which is a lot more expensive than the regular cannabis over there. But you're
Yeah.
paying for the packaging. It came in this lovely, cool, really cool box like Tyson Ranch, the toad, and then you open it. It's got the jar inside of there. Then a nice, really cool glass jar. And
Yeah.
it has all the labels up, the Toad, Tyson Ranch, all the holographic stuff. But ooh, tasty and powerful too. It was delicious.
I'm jealous now. I'm
Yeah.
jealous.
Alan, I'm just getting pulled away from the thing there now. I'm reckoning after running out of time there again. Apologies. But Alan, it's been an absolute pleasure to have a chat with you and to share the space and to have even as a host of the show there for a period. Absolutely blown away. Thanks very much, man. It's been a great crack. The next time we have to chat, it's gonna have to be in person above in your lounge, so I can pick your brain
Definitely.
and get ideas from my own lounge.
It's been great fun here. Really great fun. And a lot of whenever I went onto the YouTube and was going down the comments and all, and there's a lot of familiar people there.
Yeah.
So the cannabis community on the island as a whole is very much alive and kicking. And I've had great fun. Thanks very much for the invite. It came completely out of the blue the other day.
Yeah, no, and thanks for taking her up in such short notice. I seen that you've been banned from Facebook there as well. The old Facebook police have been on your case, so I seen it as a great opportunity there for you to kind of work around that one as well and get out there to the Facebook. And as you already know, we do share quite a few audience members as well. So
Yeah,
I think
you've definitely you've pulled a good one there, because that's exactly, I can't get, there was a whole pile of stuff I had lined up for Facebook this week. The
ah,
Monday was it was the 3rd year anniversary of legalization in the UK, and I had a whole big giveaway and all planned, and I couldn't do it. So another couple of days, we'll be back in the saddle, so to speak. And
Savage.
sure, we'll maybe, yeah, we'll maybe get back down. We'll maybe get back down and see you down your way as well soon.
Excellent. That's the job. Well, Alan, I'll leave you get back to your evening, and all the best with the vape lounge above there. And what's it actually called? I never asked, did I? Is there a name?
Stay medicated.
Stay medicated. That's what it's called.
It's
Yeah.
called Stay Medicated.
Yes. Love it.
Sure, I've been advertising it subliminally to everybody for the last 3 years. Stay medicated. So it's
Excellent.
called Stay Medicated. There was a couple of names floating about. The actual unit itself, the sign outside the shop is called Kakum, which is spelled Kakum. That's a place in Africa. So the other lady that's in the unit with me, a lot of her she would be like African themed,
Oh,
you
okay,
know. So
cool.
it all comes together and works well. And when you do visit, you'll see it all in full.
Nice one.
We'll
That's the
be we'll
job.
be I will be fully open anyway. You know, hopefully I can get stores in Bickle to stop dragging their heels. You
That
know.
fingers crossed for you
All
there.
right,
Anyway,
Martin.
Alan, enjoy the rest of your evening, pal, and thanks again for your time. Stay medicated, bud.
You too. No worries, Dave. Thank you. See you
Good luck.
later.
Good luck. Hit the end. And I kind of guy, legend. So there you go, guys. I'm gonna have to bounce off now as I have to go collect Alexis. But excellent show there. I really appreciate Alan to come joining me on the show. A special treat there for you guys. I hope you really enjoyed it. Alan wasn't too sure if he was going to make it at first, but glad he did. So I'll be back, guys, on Friday, and we'll finish off some of the headlines that I did have lined up for you today. But until then, guys, as Alan would say, stay medicated. Or as Martin's World would say, stay blazed and keep her lit. And much love and peace. Bye bye, guys.